Next bill up, Senate Bill 257. Senator Gordon, supplemental appropriation to the DOT of $10 million as state contribution towards resolution of a flooding issue at Marcellus Street Bridge in Bergen County.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee for posting this legislation. We're dealing with what we believe is a cost-effective solution to a very serious regional flooding problem in our part of Bergen County. And with me today are several people who are here to answer any technical questions that there may be. The group includes Sam Garofalo, the Superintendent of Public Works of Garfield, Michael Marsh, the the Director of Emergency Management of Garfield, Marcel Worms, the Deputy Director of Emergency Management of Lodi, and Bob Costa, the Borough Engineer for the Borough of Saddlebrook. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, you should see at your seats an aerial photograph of a section of Bergen County, which will show a sort of a U-shaped body of water. On the left is the Passaic River. On the right is the Saddle River as it enters the Passaic. And you will see noted on that photograph the Marcellus Place Bridge. And what happens during periods of heavy rain is that debris come down the Saddle River and get caught in the structure of the Marcellus Place Bridge. It acts as a dam, and water backs up into all of the adjoining communities as far north as Rochelle Park. So the affected communities include Garfield, Saddlebrook, Lodi, Rochelle Park, and probably some other communities. And this is just not water in the basement. These are traumatic events. We're talking about as many as 40% of the homes in Rochelle Park inundated. These 100-year storms seem to be happening about every 5 years, and the bridge is a contributing factor to the damage. We have requested a supplemental appropriation of $10 million, although we believe the work could be done for substantially less, to make some modifications to the substructure of the bridge that will have the effect of allowing the water to flow during periods of high tide and storm and alleviate this regional flooding problem. The dollar cost of the damage in any one storm can be on the order of tens of millions of dollars. The figure I believe I heard related to Irene was $60 million. So you really don't need an MBA to understand that if the damage from repetitive flooding could be ended, this would be a very cost-effective project. The cost of those modifications of the bridge would pay for themselves in very short order. And so we respectfully request that this committee appropriate these funds.
Senator Sam Garofalo from the City of Garfield. Just to concur with what Senator Gordon has said, that the problem is the debris. It's just not on the first 1 or 2 feet of the Saddle River. When it impacts, it goes from the bottom of the bridge right to the base. So we're talking like 9 or 10 feet of debris. When the Passaic River is at low tide, the Saddle River just can't get out fast enough to move that water along. So now we have a compounded problem. It can't get out. Now when the Passaic River comes up full tide, now it's a complete bottleneck. But in that 12-hour period, when it's at low tide, because of this debris that just backs up in this middle span, it just can't relieve. And you know yourself, Senator, in Lodi, we had on the last 2 or 3 storms, 12 to 14 feet of water transfer through Main Street. That's the problem. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Senator. The only thing that I want to add is this, is that, you know, after Hurricane Irene and we took a tour of the communities that were affected, the people said to me, storm gone, out of sight, out of mind. And that was a statement that meant an awful lot to me. The people want to see government working for them. And to me, $10 million or less, as I'm now hearing, is a worthwhile investment if it can prevent millions of dollars worth of damage, because now it's no longer just a hurricane, it's a prolonged rain. And we have to start somewhere. Is this going to solve all the problems? No, but this will solve 80% of the problems of flooding. So why wouldn't we go forward, appropriate the money, and make sure that thousands of our residents no longer have to fear of being flooded out? It is tremendous anxiety, headache, emotional, and financial strain on our people. Thank you very much for hearing this today.
Anybody else?
Senator, real quick, Marcel Worms from the Borough of Lodi. I'm Deputy Director of Emergency Management. Basically, the problem's been exacerbating. We've had 4 or 5 100-year floods in the last 10 years. The Lodi's, in the last flood, our total damage was $20 million. $2.5 million of that was borough money. The rest was our citizenry. Out of that, we received about $300,000. It's a repetitive event. It keeps getting worse and worse, and it just doesn't make sense not to fix this. The Saddle River, we've noticed that Passaic River has gotten worse as well. The confluence of the 2 rivers moved about a mile back. During the last flood, we had, like Mr. Garofalo said, about 14 feet of water. We had 2 new developments in town. We built a ShopRite about 10 years ago. The ShopRite is along the river. It was built specifically to deal with the flooding. It was built high enough. It has these gateways underneath to let the water in and out. It was built to allow it to survive a 100-year flood. The last flood, the water actually started seeping in, so that we can tell that over the years, it is getting worse. We have brand new development, brand new malls that people drove by during the flood or heard about and saw that they were islands. So we have businesses that are suffering in town, vacant property because people don't want to move into the area because of the flooding. The existing businesses who thought they were building something to withstand this aren't. So it's becoming a major and a repetitive problem, and this would go a long way towards fixing it.
And to the members of the committee, I mean, I think we've had, over the years, we've had different local issues that we've tried to deal with on the flooding, and I know Senator Panaccio has been a leading advocate on a very global type of, which is very massive in dollars, but it goes to the voters, and I think that's something we all need to get serious about sometime in the future, to really deal with the Saddle River, Passaic River Basin flooding. I happen to know all these individuals here. I know them firsthand. Many of them literally are knee-deep, waist-deep, some of them up to their chest in water. Those areas, the Saddlebrook, Garfield, Lodi, Rochelle Park, I know there's many other parts of the state, but the smallest storm sometimes puts water right through their front door and out the back door, and everybody has to be evacuated by boat. So this is a good project that should be funded. Can't be funded by individual municipalities. It is a state bridge. So, Senator Bucco.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question, basically I had the similar problem a few years back with the design of a bridge which debris backed up on. We got the Army Corps of Engineers to come in, and they made the recommendations and did the restructuring of the bridge. Have you talked to the Army Corps of Engineers or the feds at all?
Through the chair, Senator, the Army Corps of Engineers have been on the scene probably since the Spanish-American War. And they do studies after studies, and the studies seem to last for decades. I believe the consensus here is that we can't wait any longer. We need to really take action ourselves and fix this ourselves, because by the time the Corps of Engineers gets this solved, we'll have a global warming problem. We'll have beach erosion here. So my recommendation is for the state to move on this.
I found the Army Corps very receptive in trying to remedy the problem. I'm surprised that you're having difficulty there in Bergen County.
Through the chair, Senator, the Borough of Lodi about 8 years ago sent a delegation down directly to Washington to meet with the Army Corps of Engineers. We sat down with them for about 3 or 4 hours, and basically we were told pretty much directly that the amount of people that this problem affected, and it was more than just this bridge at the time, we were looking for a global solution at that time, but they were telling us that they had better ways to spend that money to help more people, and we could really not expect any help from them. And that was 8 years ago.
Mr. Chairman, good afternoon. For the record, my name is Robert Costa. I'm the town engineer in the Township of Saddlebrook. The mayor has asked me to come down to speak in front of the Assembly this afternoon and yourselves. Just to go back to your point, Senator, one little known fact is that Route 17 was flooding very recently. The state of New Jersey decided to put in a bypass into the Saddle River upstream from this bridge. They never fixed the problem downstream to allow more water to get through there, and what happens because of the banks of the Saddle River, with the trees, the leaves, the upkeep of the river that you're not allowed to touch, debris during these high storms get lodged underneath the bridge, creating a beaver dam, and that's what creates a lot of the issues. It's not a lot of money in the overall scheme of things. Granted, I understand the finances of today, and I understand the finances of the state, but it's a very small amount of money that would go a very long way to fix this problem. There's, in our town, in Saddlebrook, 650 homes were flooded out with the most recent storm. Our sewer system was basically incapable of keeping up with the sanitary sewer waste. Same goes for Garfield, Lodi, Rochelle Park, and the list goes on. We need some help, and that's why they sent me, because sometimes when I grab a microphone, people would rather give me what I want than continue to hear listening to me. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. To a couple questions to Senator Gordon. Bob, you and I have had these discussions about some of the more global problems associated with the flooding that we've seen throughout the state and obviously in Bergen County. My question number one is, you've picked this one project, and I've heard some of the reasons why. And I'm just trying to understand, one, where's the $10 million coming from? Is there a more permanent, overreaching solution for all of Bergen and all of that region that we can talk about, as opposed to $10 million here for this one bridge project, $10 million for Middlesex? I worry about this drain away, so to speak, and not having a more global fix. So just a couple of questions on that.
I think those are good points, Senator. With regard to how we would pay for this, this is a bridge, it's transportation infrastructure. My understanding is that in this budget there is funds to be borrowed for transportation infrastructure. I think we could find the $10 million and probably a lesser sum that will be required within those funds to be borrowed. I agree with you that we need to take a look at this on a regional basis. You and I have been involved in the planning for the Passaic River Basin. I think some good work has been done there, as well as work for the Saddle River Basin. I would say, though, that here we see a specific problem that we know will have a positive outcome, a fix that is cost-effective. We can spend $10 million, most likely less, and avoid costs that range in the tens of millions of dollars. So it is definitely cost effective. And that should not preclude us from trying to deal with this on a more regional basis. But we know we've got a problem here that has to be fixed that would be part of the regional solution.
Thank you, Senator. Through the chair, just to follow up to that, the $10 million, just so I'm clear, let's assume the $10 million is granted and the $10 million is utilized as discussed and as planned. What exactly will be fixed that we're not going to have to revisit a year from now, 6 months from now, and say, hey, we just flushed $10 million down, you still have the same flooding problems? What permanent solutions will be in place after you assume you get this money?
I'm still working on my engineering degree, so let me defer to people who really know what they're talking about. Yeah. The photo?
You want the photos?
The photo, yeah.
Yes.
Senator, when the bridge was, I guess, reconstructed in 1978, excuse me, what they left was a pier in the center of it. I'll try to do this as quickly as I possibly can. I don't know if you can see this, Senator, from that distance. What the county installed was what's called a debris deflector. Their thought was that when the debris came down the Saddle River, it would have a machine that would move the debris around the pier and have it continue to flow into the Passaic River. It doesn't work. So throw it away. What we need is to take the pier out of the center, open up the span, and have it go into the Passaic River. It's that simple. It'll work. And again, this is the most downstream, other than Midland Avenue, this is the most downstream bridge on the Saddle River.
Just so I'm clear, so you get the 10 million, you fix that span.
Correct.
The flooding is corrected in that area? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
This is a baby step towards a problem. Start downstream and then work yourself upstream. There's been studies, again, by the Army Corps of Engineers that say the ultimate solution to this basin is in excess of 110 million. We're not looking for that. But start here, and at least it solves this problem that affects at least the 4 communities that I discussed earlier.
Just a quick.
Thank you, Chair. Senator Gordon, you had Senator Book had asked you about working with the Army Corps. Where is the state DEP on this? What conversations have you had with them?
The county, Berrien County, supposedly is having the conversations with the state DEP. We were at a meeting with Berrien County last week, and I'm just shocked that they weren't here with us to push this along a little further, but we're letting them handle the DEP right now. But
Okay.
I think it's a matter of hydraulics. The DEP has a problem saying that they don't want to move the water as a hydraulic thing, that they don't like to add another burden to something. But this is just the cork. We want to remove the cork so we could get the water out of the river, into the Passaic River, and down. And we can't because of this middle structure that just blocks everything there. In the middle, it just can't get out. It just can't get out.
Regardless, through the Chair, whatever happens with this bill, I'll be happy to work with Senator Gordon and the DEP, because we have similar issues, and I found the DEP to be helpful somewhat when it comes to some of these local issues, to see if there's any remediations. And the fact that you said that it's not really a $10 million bill, hopefully it could be a lot less. Be happy to work with you on that. I also agree with you 100%, and I want to echo the Chairman's comments before about attacking this globally. For what we paid last year alone, we could probably have paid the interest on the bond bill that myself and Senator Sweeney have out there for flood remediation. Could have probably paid it off, if not the whole thing, close to the whole thing, especially with current interest rates. So as well as this project is, and I agree with the project, we have to take a global view. There's no doubt that what the major impediment to anything is what happens downstream. That paralyzes everything, because you can't do something upstream if it's going to wind up hurting somebody downstream. So you just can't take a look at a bridge or a culvert or a waterway in one region. You got to be able to take a look and have a global view of the whole thing. To do that costs a lot of money. And that's an investment I think that we have to make, because it's gotten to a point where we're paying more every year for just remediation than we ought to actually fix the problem.
Senator, I would just point out this bridge is pretty close to the end of the Saddle River, so we're dealing with the downstream here.
It's got, well, this bridge and then going up towards Fairfield and Patterson, it's all the same problem. So as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to take a look at the whole thing, and I would hope one day when state's finances are straightened out and we can do it, we can give this government the tools necessary, the monies, in order for us to take a global view and to do all these projects all at one time. That way we don't fix a particular problem, we fix the whole problem and allay some of the pains that some of these people have been going through year in and year out. And thank you for your efforts. Again, regardless of what happens with this bill, I'd be happy to work with you, Senator.
On S-257, Senator Beck.
I'm going to abstain. Thank you.
Senator Panaccio. Senator Oraho. Senator O'Toole. Senator Bucco. Senator Sarlo.
Yes.
Senator Stack.
Yes.
Senator Weinberg.
Yes, thank you, Senator Gordon and Assembly Members Wagner and Eustace for bringing this to our attention and for being such good Bergen County representatives.
Senator Greenstein.
Yes.
Senator Cunningham.
Yes.
Senator Ruiz.
Yes.
Senator Van Drew. And Senator Poe.
Senator Poe's in favor.
Okay, bill passes. Thank you.